Today, I'm going to share with you all the basic kitchen utensils you need to create simple meals at home. If you're just moving out for the first time, starting to cook more, or looking to help a friend with their kitchen skills, this video will help you identify what tools are absolute necessities in the kitchen. What's up, y'all? It's Elena, and welcome back to the Adulting Kitchen. If you're trying to figure this adulting thing out and not starve along the way, this is the channel for you. This is going to be the first of many kitchen basic videos to help you grow in the kitchen, so do consider subscribing. I felt like it was important to cover the tools that you actually need in the kitchen to start creating great meals, because your tools and proper use of them is going to cut down on some cooking anxiety and reduce the overall time that you spend in the kitchen. This is not a super complex list because I've literally broken it down to just the bare necessities. The simple bare necessities. This list does not include appliances or pantry items. We can talk about those another day, honey, so we can focus on utensils right now. So one of the first things I think is absolutely necessary to have in the kitchen is one of these right here. This is a cutting board, and it's just a protective surface that you're gonna cut your food products on, so you won't mess up your tables, you won't cut your hands, and all that little crazy stuff. This one is usually pretty sturdy when you place it on a surface. I got a table right here, and the wood ones usually don't move. If you get like a plastic one or something like that, those might tend to like shift around on your table. In those instances, you can get like a wet paper towel or a wet cloth or anything, dishcloth, and put it up under there so that it doesn't slide around when you're trying to cut things. So yeah, your cutting board is an absolute must. In that same vein, you're also gonna wanna have knives to cut on said cutting board. One of the first ones I recommend is a chef's knife, and this is mine. It's pretty fancy, guys, but it's gonna have that plain edge like that. It's gonna be real sharp at the tip. The blade is pretty wide. The handle's usually heavier than the actual blade, and this is what you're gonna use as like an all-purpose type of thing. It'll cut meat, it'll cut vegetables, whatever you need cut, except, you know, like don't cut your fingers. It'll cut those too, so you really need to watch out for that. But it's good for cutting up literally anything. Mine comes with like a holder for the blade. This is a protective measure to keep it sharp, but then also just keeping it in its own little storage area is gonna keep them sharper for longer as well. The next knife that I recommend is going to be a utility knife. A utility knife is gonna be like a chef's knife, but it's more narrow. The same concept with the heavy handle, light blade. Also used for cutting. You can use this on produce. You can use it to cut poultry if you want to like do a stuffed chicken or something like that. You can cut it open with one of these. Alternatively, you can get a paring knife. This is a paring knife. Let me take the doggone holder off. You can also use this for produce and stuff like that, but it's usually used for detailed work of fruits and vegetables, and you can't cut poultry with this or any types of meat or anything. That's why I wanted to recommend the utility knife instead, because you can get more functions out of this one. The next knife that I will recommend is a serrated knife. The serrated knife is different from other knives because you'll usually like cut down in a straight down motion to get like smooth cuts, but like with this one you have to saw back and forth because it has teeth here that are, you know, jagged like a saw. So you go at whatever it is that you're cutting like a saw. It's usually used for produce that have like harder exteriors. Maybe you would use this for like a melon or a pineapple to get the skin off. You can also use this for sandwiches. You can use it for wraps. You can use it for breads, pastries. It just gives you cleaner cuts in these scenarios, whereas if you were to use a chef's knife, things might get a little messy depending on the item that you're cutting. Another kitchen cutting device that I would recommend having is kitchen shears, or as I called them my whole life, the kitchen scissors. because that's basically what they are. This would be good to like shred up some greens for a salad, to cut up raw pieces of bacon, clusters of grapes up. That's what I do a lot of the time. And you can use this to even like cube breads if you're making like a bread pudding or something like that. It's really good for jobs that don't really require a whole knife and cutting board setup. You can just do a little snip and get the job done. I use these a lot in scenarios even when I shouldn't. I've cut up bell peppers with it. I saw some people on the internet like cutting up pizza with it. I would recommend none of that for real. Just really use it for little small snips that you need to make. So the next item that I think every kitchen needs is a grater. This is also going to help you shred items as well. It's usually going to be used for cheeses, like cabbages, chocolate, whatever. Anything that you need to get down into fine pieces, you can use this for. If you want some even more fine grades, you can use a zester. They also call this a grater too. But this is gonna be for like lemon zest, lime zest, any citrus fruit you can use to get the outside of it into a dish. And you can also use this for cheeses and the other items that I mentioned earlier, but it's just going to put it into smaller pieces. So if that's okay with you, you can get one of these. But either of these, I recommend this though because it's way more versatile. The next item that I would recommend is, ooh, I closed it. Tongs. You use these to pick up foods, to turn foods, and all of that. You can do that with meats. People use it on the grill to do different grilled items and turn it. I like these because it's got this little protective barrier on the handle so that you don't burn your hand when you're touching the hot things. And I also like this one because it closes up and opens up. A lot of them just stay open like this. I like the ones that close up because it makes for easier storage. You can also use tongs for serving. So like if you're serving noodles or serving a salad, this would be a good option to, you know, pick up the item and put it to where it needs to be. So the next thing that I would recommend is a mixing bowl. So this is going to be used to combine any ingredients that you may come across in a recipe. I prefer using stainless steel. We use those at school, but like this is all I have at home is these glass ones, and they're pretty effective. I like these glass bowls because they do not stain at all. They don't hold odor, and they're fairly easy to clean. This is a plastic one. They're usually like pretty porous, so they're gonna hold stains and they're gonna hold odors depending on what you're putting in here. So I mean, if you do have these, just be cautious of what it is that you're putting inside of them. I'd also recommend to get them in various sizes for different jobs. I've been like making cupcakes or whatever, and I've needed like a big bowl, maybe like a bunch of pancakes for people or something. You're gonna need a bigger bowl. Whereas if you're making something in a small portion or like a vinaigrette or something, you're gonna want to mix that up in a smaller bowl like this one. The next item that I feel like every kitchen needs is a whisk. It's not very effective to use spoons on everything. We talked about this over on Instagram at The Adulting Kitchen. If you're not following us, do follow us because we have good discussions there. But what a whisk is going to do is help you smooth out whatever product that you're making, as well as incorporate air into it. So think like using it on batters, think using sauces, think whipped cream, stuff that needs air and needs to be smooth. They are really important to keeping things lump free. If you've been making like baked goods and stuff like that and it's been kind of lumpy, you might want to try a whisk if you haven't done that, and you might see a difference in the product that comes out. Spatulas are a very important tool in the kitchen, and they come in different varieties for different things, and I have a few here to kind of give you an example of that. So these two are called turners, and you see that this one is slotted and this one is unslotted, and you would use those in different scenarios, but basically it's gonna come up under your food and you're just able to turn it or flip it. You probably want to use this unslotted spatula for pancakes or products similar to that. And you want to use the slotted one for items in which you need like some liquid to drain off. Maybe like if you're doing burgers or something else that's got a lot of fat or liquid on it. Then also, my favorite, this is a scraper spatula, and it's different from those other two because it's straight. So it's going to help you when you've got your, let me get that mixing bowl back out. You can go in on the sides and get all your product off of there so that you're not leaving excess inside of your bowl. These are usually made from like silicone and rubber. This one that I have today is silicone. I like this one better, just my preference. The rubber ones, they stain a lot and stuff like that. This one doesn't really do that. I definitely recommend all three of these, but you know, if not, definitely just get you any kind of turner and a scraper spatula. Next, we've got spoons, and it's a lot of varying degrees of spoons as well, just like as with the spatula. So like this one is a slotted one, and it's used for serving. So like if you're making like greens, I don't know why I can only think of like Southern comfort foods at this point, but like candied sweet potatoes or something like that. It's got a lot of juice and you want to serve them. You might want to get this to drain off that excess juice. And then also this is an unslotted serving spoon for items where you want to keep the liquid. In situations where you're not serving the food and you're just wanting to stir or to mix, you want to get one of these. This is a stirring spoon. This one is made from silicone. You just use this to stir your product if you got it on the stove or something like that. This one is better to use than this one in stirring situations because it's straight down, whereas this one is curved. So you're going to be able to manipulate your product a little bit better with this one. So here's another item. People be using this like a spoon, and it's just like, it's not that. This is a ladle, okay? Like the ladle is got this long stem edge handle. That's the word. It's got this long handle that you can use to like put deep down into pots and stuff like that and scoop out your product. This is used for stews and like soups where you want to get all the liquid as well as all the goodies that's inside of it. So this is shaped like a little cup or like a little boat to help with that as well. In contrast with the serving spoon, it's not as deep. So you're going to want to use this to get the most liquid and product out as opposed to a serving spoon. Measuring cups. So it's two different types of measuring cups. A lot of people, I feel like, don't know this. So I'm here to help you out. All right. So this right here is a liquid measuring cup. It's got this easy pour spout here as well as this handle. And this one is specifically for liquids because it does not go all the way to the top of the brim, so that if you have any splashes or stuff like that, you're not gonna lose all of your product because you know you filled it to the tippy top. But then you also have the dry measuring cup, and this is the 1 cup here, and this is used for obviously dry ingredients, cornmeals, masa, flour, that kind of stuff. You want to measure in here. Why? Because you can level it off, and that is literally just the act of brushing off the excess. You can't do that when you measure dry ingredients in here. If you put your liquids in here, then you're gonna get like a lot of spillage, a lot of splashage. And splashage, is that a word? So you don't want to really do that. You're going to get the most accurate measurements when you're using the appropriate cup for the appropriate usage. In the same measuring vein, you want to make sure you have some measuring spoons, all right? This is just a few out of a little set that I've got. Unlike the measuring cups, you can use these for wet and dry ingredients because it's really so small. Just be careful. These come in different sizes. This is a tablespoon. This is a teaspoon. You can see they're very different. These two are not interchangeable. 1 tablespoon does not equal 1 teaspoon. They must be converted from like one to another. These are absolutely important for smaller ingredients that you might have, like your salts, your peppers, any spices. extracts, all of that you would measure in here. The next item that I would recommend is this little bowl with the holes, as I used to call it when I was younger. It is called, actually though, a colander. This is used to drain off excess liquid of any product that you might have. So like if you're washing berries or vegetables, anything like that, Brussels sprouts, broccoli florets, anything, you could throw it in here and do a little quick rinse, and it's going to get off that excess liquid off of those items. Next, I've got this little tool right here, and this is a can opener. For some reason, when I was a child, I literally always struggled with these. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the one that we had at the house, so it was an absolute must of me to find one that I could use without struggling. They come in all different shapes and sizes and varieties, but with this one, you put it on the side, and it's gonna make a little click type of a snap when it snaps down to go and open this, and then you just turn it to get it open. I broke my whole nail on one of these one time, and if that's you, if you're accident prone, go and get you an electric one. All right, they make those. These are very, very cheap. So if you are on a budget, you might want to get one of these instead. But if you got a little, you know, you balling, you got a little bit of more money to blow, okay, get you an electric one, because it's going to be way less hassle for you opening cans. This one is very important to me. I really don't know why no house I went to ever had one of these, or at least utilized them. It's a food thermometer, and we didn't really use these at my house. This is truly the only way to ensure that your food is safe to eat. Using this is basically going to make your life so much easier when trying to determine doneness of specific items. You don't necessarily need this for like every food product. I don't use it for every food product, but definitely when I'm like cooking meats and stuff like that, I've started to utilize it more, because I've always been like, oh my God, when is my chicken done? I have no idea to know. You use this, and I can judge based off the temperature whether or not I need to add more cooking time or not. For the sake of everybody being safe and healthy and well, I think it should be in more kitchens. None of this other stuff is going to make any sense whatsoever if you do not have this item. Pots and pans. You gotta cook the food in something. I recommend getting a cookware set, because it's gonna get you everything that you need to get started. I have one. It's not this particular one, but most of them are pretty good. You're gonna get a variety of pots and pans, and they even throw in like some of the spatulas and some spoons and stuff like that into these sets. And they usually don't run for too much. You might pay like $50 or something like that for one like this, and it'll get you through any basic recipe for the most part. This is a pot. Those sets are gonna come in a variety of sizes of these. This one you probably want to cook something smaller, like a sauce or something in this. This is a pan, and you use this one for like sauteing, you know, when they do like the fancy, the little fancy flips and stuff like that. This is the type of pan that you use for those things. Muffin pans. They usually come in a dozen, but they do come bigger if you want to make products at a larger volume. Like me, I like to bake, so I make a lot of cupcakes. I have a 24 count, but yeah, a simple dozen is really going to be decent for everyday home use. You can do savory or sweet muffins in here. You can do cupcakes, and you can even do snacks like oatmeal cups, or like I've seen some people make some Reese's peanut butter cups in here. So it's really just
little egg cups, breakfast cups, spaghetti and meatball cups, taco cups, literally anything you want to be in a little cup shape.
You can do it all up in here, and it'll get done. A baking dish, also known as a casserole dish. They come in varying lengths and widths as well, depending on what it is that you're making. This one is specifically for casseroles. This, like, they used to this lid and stuff like that. You know how grandma would have her little casserole and present it on the table like that? They're really cute. This is another variety of a baking dish. It's a little bit longer, The width's a little, the width's about the same as the other one, but the length is longer. So this would be nice for like baking brownies or maybe a lasagna, those types of things. It's not something that you can cook on the stove. This is stuff that's gonna have to go into the oven, and it's going to hold your product into the desired shape that you want. The last item is a sheet pan. Absolute necessity in the kitchen. It's used for baking literally anything. I put pizza on this. I put roasted vegetables on this. I put cookies on this. Whatever you need to put in the oven. This one's kind of stained, and this one's kind of big. You can get one smaller than this. I usually be trying to like meal prep and cook a whole bunch of stuff at one time, so I use like bigger things like this to prepare more at one time. I hope this video has informed you of some basic tools that your kitchen needs, as well as what cooking tasks that they are best used for. I really want to stay connected with you if you enjoyed this, so follow the Adulting Kitchen on Instagram so we can share and converse a bit more there. I'd also love to know if this video helped you, so you can let me know that in the comments below. And if you know your way around the kitchen, let me know what you thought of this list in the comments below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.